Hello, everyone, and welcome to our week 2 wellness topic. This week we are discussing hunger cues. I think I spoke with a lot of you guys when we had our initial appointments about how eating is actually such a mental thing for us that we don't quite understand. A lot of the times we can mistake different emotions, such as being tired, being bored, anything like that, for being hungry. Okay. So, we're going to talk a little bit about how to tell what your hunger cues are, how to control your hunger, how to satisfy your hunger, and how to learn from it. Okay. Here we go. 72 billion. Okay, I'm going to say that again. 72 billion. Do you know what that is? That is the amount that weight loss and diet companies made in 2018. 72 billion. They put out something new every week and they don't want you to be successful. Why? Because then you won't pay up, right? So, what they want you to do is they release these magic pills, these weight loss shakes, all of these different things that will give you a quick fix that doesn't necessarily maintain anything for you. So that's why we focus on habits, things that are in our control, things that we're not shelling out ridiculous amounts of money for just to try and have a quick fix. $72 billion. That is a lot of money for 1 year. So let's start off with talking about what is hunger. Hunger, and when I have to preface this, when I start talking about hunger, I'm not encouraging you to starve yourself. Hunger is a natural body cue, just like when you're tired. That means you're tired and you should probably go to sleep, right? Or if you have to go to the bathroom, you get a natural cue that you need to go to the bathroom, right? Hunger is the exact same way. One thing that we need to know is that, part of the problem that we have is that we can get basically anything wherever we want it, whenever we want it, right? So we truly don't feel the hunger that you see in some third world countries. We're very blessed and we should feel grateful that we have the ability to eat whatever we want when we want it. But we also need to learn to control that. Okay? So it's a natural body cue. Your stomach gurgles. You may feel an emptiness in your stomach. What we need to start to do is learn what the true hunger feelings are. And again, that could be that rumble in your belly. It's a true feeling of emptiness in your stomach. It is your body signaling you that you need more fuel, right? So these are things that we need to start recognizing. We need to start really listening to our bodies, getting in tune with our bodies to understand, are we truly hungry or is this another emotion that we're feeling? Okay. Our bodies are made to tell us how many calories we need each day, but we just don't listen to them. Our bodies have a natural regulation of caloric intake, which is exactly what I just said. Our bodies tell us how many calories we need to eat each day. Our body doesn't want us to eat excess calories. It knows what it needs and it gives you cues. But again, we've been conditioned to ignore these cues. Hunger is a good thing. And I say a good thing because it means that we're fueling our body. Our body's saying we need a little bit more. So if we can learn when our body needs this and learn to fuel our body properly, then hunger becomes something that shouldn't be stressful, which is what we're going to talk about on the next slide. Ideally, your hunger should last, or once you fill yourself up with a good meal, you should stay satisfied for about 4 hours. That's not every day, that's just your average, right? So if you eat a meal and you are hungry 1 hour later, don't ask yourself what snack you can do. What am I going to eat next? Ask yourself what you can do better about that previous meal in order to make sure that you don't have this aching feeling of hunger an hour after you have a full meal. Maybe you need to add more veggies, maybe a little bit more fat's needed, carbs or protein. These are all things that I can help you with. But I just want us to start being more mindful of hunger. What hunger is not. A lot of us get anxious when you're hungry. I am absolutely guilty of this. What I am learning to do, and again, we all need to learn this because we've been conditioned over our lives not to feel this way. What I have been making an effort to learn to do, and what I encourage all of you to learn to do, is to sit and get comfortable with your hunger. I'm not telling you to sit there for 3 hours. Sit for half an hour. Start understanding what your body's trying to tell you before you just go and grab a whole meal of food, okay? It's not a reason to be grumpy, right? Hangry. I look at that hangry and I think about my husband because he definitely seems to get hangry. But if we are conditioned to not being able to stand being hungry, we can't sit with our hunger and listen to our body, then hold on one second, my dog is barking at me. Never a dull moment over at this house. So what hunger is not is it's not an emergency. It's not a reason to be grumpy, but it's also not something that you ignore. Again, start to learn your cues, learn what your body does to tell you it's hungry. I know for me, my body just feels very empty. It'll gurgle once I take it to an extreme, but I know that if I have an empty feeling in my stomach, that I need to feel my body. Okay? All right. How to eat according to your hunger cues. We need to learn to wait until you feel hungry to eat. What I encourage you guys to do this week is to try with each meal that you have to really feel if you are hungry. For example, when I wake up in the morning, I typically try to eat around 7 to 7:30. Now, sometimes I may not even be hungry to do that, right? So what I'm going to try and do for this next week and as much as I can in the future is really wait until I truly feel hungry. Now, if you ate the night before and you had a big meal and you don't quite feel that hungry, I'm not asking you to skip meals by any means. We need to eat consistently throughout the day, but maybe you just make a little bit of a smaller meal. Okay, so again, practice listening to our bodies, learning our bodies, right? Again, I want us to sit and be comfortable with your hunger, but we don't want to wait any more than 60 minutes. Okay. When we ask ourselves when we feel hungry to determine whether we are truly hungry or maybe we're just having a craving, which is not hunger. Maybe I'm tired. Maybe I'm bored. Maybe I'm mad. The way that I have found this to work for me is if I'm feeling like I might be hungry, but I just ate, or I don't have that empty feeling in my stomach, I don't hear those gurgles in my stomach, I ask myself, would I eat an apple right now? May sound silly, but it's true because I love apples. And if I'm not willing to eat an apple, I'm probably not hungry. So I encourage you to get some sort of food, preferably something that is a fruit or a vegetable, something that you enjoy, and do that. If you feel hungry, ask yourself, would you eat that item? And if you say no, you're probably not hungry. So start to think about what else you may be feeling. Okay? Use every single meal you have as an opportunity to learn what you can do better. This is when we become better and do a few things good most of the time, right? It's not going to be perfect every time, but we can learn from every single meal. And the more we actually start to be present when we're eating with our mind and our body and truly start to think more than react, it can really make a difference. When to stop eating. This is a hard one for a lot of us, especially if that food is good and especially if we have been conditioned not to necessarily stop eating when we're full. Okay. So just like we're talking about, our body cues us when we're hungry, our body will also cue us when we're full. It's a natural body's cue. Most of us have been conditioned to ignore it, right? Did your parents ever tell you you better clean up your plate? Or you don't get any dessert until your plate is clean? I absolutely had that happen in my life. And I am absolutely the person that does not like to not finish everything on my plate, to my detriment. I sit there holding my belly because I ate too much. I can imagine that most of us has had that feeling, right? We don't want to eat until we're full. We want to eat until we're satisfied. Eat until we no longer have that emptiness feeling in our stomach. So just as we have to learn our body's natural cue to tell us that they're hungry, we also need to start to learn our body's natural cue to tell us that we are satisfied, that you have just given your body the sufficient fuel that it needs to feel full, right? Anything more you're putting in your body is just waste. So you don't have to waste it. You can always eat more, but you can never take it out. And if you are trying to take it out, that is a whole other conversation that we need to have. How to stop eating when you're full. Practice, practice, practice. Every single meal, practice. Remember what you ate. Remember the different servings of whatever you had on your plate. How could you have done this better? Every time after you eat, an hour after you eat, I want you to ask yourself, could I work out right now? If you can work out 60 minutes after you ate and you feel sufficiently that you have given your body some sufficient fueling, you did a great job. If you can't work out because your stomach feels heavy, you're tired, more than likely you probably overate. Okay, so again, practice. It's not going to be perfect every time, and that is okay. All right. You can always pack up your food. So if you get to the point where you're feeling satisfied, no problem. Pack it up, put it away. You can always get it later, right? But you cannot take it back up. Slow down. This is all about being mindful. Put that fork down in between bites, have some water, sit down with your family or your friends, engage in conversation, and most importantly, is remove distractions. Put those phones away, turn off the TVs, close your laptops, focus and be present with your food. Be grateful that you are able to eat this food with such ease. You're able to get this food with such ease. We are so privileged here in this country, and sometimes we start taking that for granted. So I just want us to slow down, enjoy our food, and listen to our bodies. I know that I'm a sucker for memes. You guys know I'm a sucker for memes. This meme again reminds me of my husband. I don't always eat, but when I do, I need only 6 seconds. I cannot tell you how fast my husband eats, and I'm still sitting there a half an hour later, still eating my food while he's going up for a second plate. And then guess what happens? He's so overly full because he didn't allow his body to digest. He didn't listen to his body when it started telling him, I think we're good. He just kept going. I think we all have been guilty at this a time or two, and maybe we are with many meals that we have. Just remind yourself you can always eat more later. Put the extra food away before you start eating. If you make a big batch of food, put it away, serve it on your plate, and put it away immediately. Wash your dishes as soon as you finish. By doing these two things, you will make it harder to get more food, right? It's not just on the counter for you to scoop another scoop. You have to go into the fridge, open up that Tupperware, get the food out, get a clean plate, put it on your food or on your plate, and then eat it. So with those extra steps involved, maybe that will help you not have to go for that next round of food and let your body digest and let you know when it is truly finished. Plan an activity for immediately after your meal. It doesn't have to be going out of your house. Plan something with your family. Plan something with a phone call to a friend. And again, as I've said multiple times before, practice, 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 practice. All right, guys, for this Saturday, we are going to do a Plan-a-Treat Saturday. So, what you're going to do is you are going to pick something that you would like to treat yourself with. Okay. It can be maybe a piece of cake, a piece of pie. Maybe you like a smoothie or an ice cream cone. It doesn't matter. But in order to have your treat, I want you to be hungry. So, what I mean by that is, I don't want you to eat a big dinner and then force yourself to have a dessert, right? I want you to listen to your body, feel the cues from your body, and eat that treat when you're hungry. And the only other guideline I have for you is it must be really good. You guys will remember earlier in the week when we were talking about our challenges, I posted that picture of that glorious calzone, apple pie calzone. You guys, I can't even tell you how good that thing was. But what did I do? I didn't eat the whole thing. That thing was huge. But I cut a piece of it and I ate it. And that prevented me more than likely from binge eating something sugary and delicious later on and eating way more than I needed to. Living without complete restriction, it helps with saying later, and it's not a cheat. Let's stop identifying these things as a cheat meal. It's a treat. We're human. They are made to eat, right? We just need to not do it every day. And we need to make sure that we don't go overboard. So let's say that you love Dairy Queen, right? You love those blizzards. Great, get a mini or a small. Maybe just add one ingredient instead of five, right? There's ways that you can still have a delicious treat, but also still be mindful of where you're going and what your goals are for wellness. Here is our challenge for this week. I want you guys to do 2 minutes of a plank each day. Okay? When you guys coming next Sunday, when you guys post this, all I want you to do is just let us know how you did it, where you did it. Did you do it with family? Just give us an idea of how that planking went. It doesn't have to be 2 minutes straight. Heck, I don't even know if I can do a plank for 2 minutes each day, but it just needs to be accumulated of 2 minutes each day. Our core is so important. Core is so important for the gym, for every single movement that we do. So that is what our mini challenge is this week. And keep an eye out for a pop-up mini challenge at some point over the next 2 weeks. I hope this was helpful. I hope that this made you look at the feeling of hunger just a little bit different. And please, this week, I encourage you to really, really hone in and focus on what your body is telling you, how you're feeling your body, feeling satisfied versus feeling full, and really listening to yourself and seeing what you can do better at each meal you have. Good luck this week. I'm proud of each and every one of you. You are doing so great, and I will talk to you soon.